So n8n is about to get a lot easier to use. So my biggest gripe with n8n has always been is that, yes, it's very powerful, but for a non-coder or a non-technical person, it can be pretty difficult to use. Specifically, if you're trying to connect to specific apps that n8n did not have a native integration with, you had to set up an HTTP request, which again, for a non-coder can be somewhat difficult. Now, there's other YouTube videos about this announcement, so I'm not going to go into those specific details. But what I want to focus on here is the most exciting part, which is the native integration with more specific apps. So when I talk about a native integration, this is what I'm talking about on my clipboard right here. So ElevenLabs is one of the partner nodes that they announced. And now what you can do if you want to use ElevenLabs is they have their own node in the library that you can set up in about 2 seconds. Now, before I show you the new way that you can set up ElevenLabs, I want to show you the old way, right? So this is from a workflow I did about the baby podcast videos, and I used ElevenLabs in this flow, and this was only a couple of weeks ago. Now, to connect to the ElevenLabs API, what you had to do was you had to use one of those nasty HTTP request nodes. And this is what it looks like inside of n8n when I was originally setting this up, right? So again, this was the old way of connecting to ElevenLabs. The node was HTTP request. I had to set my method. I had to find the URL in the API docs for ElevenLabs. And then I had to set up my headers, right? I had to specify my headers below with my API key, which I've removed here. Then I had to set these other values, accept, audio, MPEG. Now, listen, if you're a coder, this is not a big deal to you, but for no coders, this is a huge pain in the butt to go through the documentation, the API docs, and configure this node, right? And it doesn't even end here. We've got to send the body with the JSON and then pass all of these values, get the model ID for the voice, and all of these settings here, right? So this nasty node that I like to call it is a huge pain for people who don't want to deal with this kind of setup. And so if we're able now to hopefully move away mostly from these HTTP requests to the native setup, it's going to make using n8n so much easier. All right, so that's the old way of doing ElevenLabs. Now, with this announcement, again, there's a couple of moving parts for this announcement. For me, what I want to focus on here is the native integration with partners. So ElevenLabs is one of those partners, and you can see now, you can see it on my canvas, but if I go into search and I search with ElevenLabs, you can see this gray check mark here that says this is an official node maintained by ElevenLabs. And now what I can do is, since ElevenLabs has their own node, I can click into this, and I've already set this up. Now, the only thing that I had to do was I had to add my ElevenLabs account by clicking a new credential. The only thing I had to do was paste in my API key, hit save, and once that happened, look how much easier this is to set up right now. So I have already chosen text-to-speech when I was searching for ElevenLabs before. So again, when you search for ElevenLabs, there's all these different actions. So the one that I chose was convert text to speech, and you can see that it comes down in the operation and it comes down in the resource. So I only had to do two things. Number one, I had to pick from the list of different voices, and then I had to feed it in the text, meaning what text do I want ElevenLabs to read. And I grabbed this sample here from Greg Eisenberg's blog. Now, once I did that, I hit execute step, and I have my voice output from ElevenLabs. And let's see if I can play it here.
I stumbled across this job posting looking to hire AI agents, not human employees. Sounds like a bad joke, right?
All right, not sure if you could hear that too well. It was playing in my iTunes for some reason, but I downloaded the file. But to create that voice file with the native integration literally took me less than 20 seconds. Whereas before, when I had to set this up for school, to get the endpoint, to get all the header off, all these fields here, the body, the JSON, all of these fields can literally take someone who has even a little bit of experience, like 10 minutes to set up. If you have no coding experience, it's going to take you, I don't know, maybe an hour to set up. So the fact that we have this native integration, for me, is a huge step forward in n8n. And again, it makes it more accessible to non-coders. It makes more apps available natively, so we don't have to do that nasty HTTP configuration. All right, now if you want to set this up, all you have to do inside of your account, and again, this is for cloud users, right? This is not for self-hosted people. I'm talking about cloud accounts here. Go into your admin panel, which is this cloud right here. And then once you're in your dashboard, you want to click on manage, scroll down a little bit, and then you'll see this verified community nodes. You want to tick that box on. Mine is obviously already on. And then you want to click save changes. And then what I think happens is your workspace is going to refresh. You'll see it refreshing. It's going to take a couple of minutes for those changes to take effect. And after that, you'll be able to search for these nodes. All right, so once you have that enabled, what you can do is go into the node library, and let me search for one that I have not installed. All right, so here's one right here, pdf.co. And again, you can see this green check mark, which tells you that it's maintained by pdf.co. Now, when I click into this, before I am able to use it, what you need to do is just click on that install node. And then after 10 seconds or so, you can see the package is installed. And now I can use this node to perform all of these actions natively. Again, that's where I'm going to stress this for the non-coders, natively in n8n without having to configure any HTTP request. So that's how you enable the feature on your account. And that's how you install the nodes in your workspace. So in the announcement, n8n said, I think that they have 25 partnerships to kick off. There's Tavily, PDF.co, Bright Data, ElevenLabs, which I showed. There's SERP API, which is a great node there. So they're starting smallish, again, with 25 partner announcements. I would love to see this scale up as quickly as possible. You know, I want to see native nodes for any big tool. Now, one question that I had, and if you know the answer to this, let me know, is where can I find all of the verified third-party nodes in one place? I actually don't see anywhere where we can find them all in one place. What you can do, and this is kind of annoying, obviously, is when you open up the node library and you click on action in app and you kind of scroll, what you will see, again, are these gray check marks. And this is going to indicate that it's an official node maintained by the company itself. So we can see AI Scraper. And as you scroll down, here's another one, Beyond Presence. Here's Bright Data, Browser Flow for LinkedIn, Chat Data. So that's one way to kind of find all of these new nodes. I wish n8n would put these together on one page so we know what's new. But if you just want to scroll, you can do it that way. And so again, I wrote this on Twitter a few days ago. It got 26,000 views. You know, one of my biggest complaints with n8n is that it's too technical and there's not enough native integrations. This, I think, is going to be a huge step in solving that complaint. And so I hope to see a lot more native integrations come to the platform soon. And by the way, if you want to join a free community that's all about AI automation made easy, hop into my free school community. There's a link below this video, AI Automation Made Easy. We're now over 600 members. There's people in here building automations for their own business. There's people in here building it to sell it to clients. And they understand that AI and AI automation is the next big thing. And so if you want to upskill and get on this AI train, check out the free community below.